one of the most fascinating political stories to come, I think, out of the last, or the beginning of this Congress, certainly out of the last week because of the confirmations, or the week before that. Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. Cruz is a first-term senator. He ran as a Tea Party, a real strong right-wing Tea Party candidate, won a primary there, and then, of course, as the Republican Senate candidate in Texas in 2012, he won the Senate seat. But he hasn't just sat quietly among the daffodils there. What he has done is he has voted against just about everything that has come up. And he has voted as he said he would. He was going to block everything. He voted against John Kerry. He's one of 3 senators to vote against John Kerry. He voted against Chuck Hagel. But he didn't just vote against Chuck Hagel. He used some pretty incendiary language when talking about Chuck Hagel, guys. He said during the confirmation hearings for Hagel, hey, listen, you know, I'm not sure how patriotic Chuck Hagel is. And then that even sent John McCain going crazy. He said, no. We're here to question whether or not he can be a good Secretary of Defense.
But now we find out, Michael, that he apparently was talking about communists, because they were saying that his reaction to Hagel was almost McCarthyite. That's what it reminded people of. And it turns out about 2.5 years ago, he gave a speech that Michael's going to tell us about, where he was literally talking like McCarthy, like the communists are here.
Yeah, and people were alluding, Barbara Boxer was alluding to the fact that he was saying McCarthy-like things. In his interrogation during Hagel's nomination was McCarthy-like. So at this event, which was sponsored by Americans for Prosperity, and I'll just remind you who runs Americans for Prosperity, it's of course Charles and David Koch. The Koch brothers actually, sponsored this event in part. And Cruz said very nice things to this audience. Of course, it was his audience. And then he went on to describe President Obama as the most radical president ever to occupy the Oval Office. Which, okay, not the first person to say. First of all, it's totally off the mark.
I gotta say Andrew Jackson.
Right. Well, yeah.
I mean,
I don't think the audience would have reacted the same way. I don't think.
Wes does the speech. He's like, "I'll tell you what. Obviously, Andrew Jackson, the most radical. But after him, well, there's a couple others. But then, like fourth is Obama.
Yeah, and Abraham Lincoln was radical. So there were radical thoughts on Abraham, and sometimes radical is okay when it's radically different from what exists already. But let's, but just the idea that he was saying these things, calling him radical, not the end of the world. It's partisan speak. I'm sure 1,000 candidates said it. I'm sure Mitt Romney said it last year. Radical president, not so bad. Went on to talk about how President Obama attended Harvard just a few years before he did. And this is what he said. There were fewer, he would have made a perfect president of Harvard Law School. There were fewer declared Republicans in the faculty when we were there than communists. There was one Republican. So he's saying that he was hell-bent, that the president, this is why he's radical, because when he was at Harvard, he was hell-bent on overthrowing the American government because he was a communist.
And then the follow-up to that is amazing too, because he says, but there were 12 who would say they were Marxists,
right?
Okay, who believed in the communists overthrowing the United States government. No, look, the specificity of that is what amuses me. Right. It's one thing to say, there's a bunch of commies at Harvard Law when I was going there. It's hyperbole, it's ridiculous, but you get past it, right? And no, he's like, there's about 12 I counted, and they're Marxists, and they're thrown to overlook the government.
Right.
Cuckoo.
Well, cuckoo.
Great, crazy.
I think in their head, they're like, if you don't love the United States and everything exactly as it is right now, then you're a communist. Yeah. Like, I don't think it has anything to do with the philosophy, anything. It's a catch-all blanket
You think
term.
It's the word.
So Professor Charles Fried is the professor of Ted Cruz at the time, and he's Reagan's former Solicitor General. So you know that he's
pretty conservative.
He's pretty conservative. So he says, first part of the quote is, I can write offhand count 4 out Republicans, including myself. So there goes his theory that Cruz was one.
Yeah.
Cruz said there was one Republican. He said, I have not taken a poll, but I would be surprised if there were any members of the faculty who believed in the communists overthrowing the U.S. government. And now that's Reagan's guy saying, oh, come on.
Right.
And he seems a little embarrassed that because Cruz was one of his top guys. Cruz worked with him on
where'd you go wrong teaching this kid?
Right, right. And he worked with him on some Supreme Court briefs, etc. That's the amazing thing about Cruz, because he's not a dumb guy. Right. I mean, Princeton, Harvard Law, working on Supreme Court briefs. but he's smart, but he's crazy.
He's crazy. And, you know, I just to keep going with Fried again, because later on in the same talk, that not only do I not remember that there were, you know, any communists there, maybe there were a couple of radicals, not 12, I don't remember 12, but none of them were talking about communists overthrowing the government. I mean, and that's the thrust of this, is that he doesn't have any recollection of anything like that.